go. I don't know where to put you, friends. Here, you'll be standing in the sunlight, which might not be good for you. Here, you'll be looking into the shadows, which might be the only thing we can hope to do. I wish I didn't have to think about these things. So I'm gonna stop and say, indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you so much for joining me again. If you clicked on this video because of the concerning title and the concerning thumbnail, good. Good. Because I did set it up in that way so that you would click on it being like, has Mel properly lost his mind? I haven't yet. I'm not gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna keep it all together. I haven't lost my mind. I'm gonna talk about the entities that are our animals, our insects, our, I want to say children as well. I kind of find, kids to be kind of entities as well, in a way, right? They're like not quite human just yet, but there's some inkling of it happening. Today I watched a PewDiePie video where his son turned 1 years old, and he now has 3 dogs. And then there's this scene where, like, there's the dogs on the bed trying to get attention from him, and his child is like crawling up to him. And my mind just goes down this rabbit hole of like, what do we think as children about that as an environment? Like, seeing these dogs, all right? And then the dogs have like different hierarchies in our homes, and sometimes the dogs get left at home, sometimes the dogs go along. There are different rules for what the dogs can do and can't do than there is for you. And then the birds, the entities that live in our outside environment, that sing, how that influences us. Some people have birds in their homes, all right? And it was just like really opening my mind to this. Uh, I don't know if it's an understanding or if it's a consideration more, right? Like it queried my mind to be like, this is something to think about with how we grow up and how we perceive other entities and how every single other person in the world is another entity. Every animal, every insect, there are these entities. Like thinking about the whole fractal of like aliens invading our Earth, or us looking out into the universe and looking for other entities out there, when there are so many entities right here that we already do not understand the languages of, right? And that was where it started from. And then I was trying to build a narrative around why it's important to consider other entities, right? Why it's important to see the entities that is around you. And it's very much, or maybe how you should see the entities around you. And it very much is as an antidote to being selfish, or to being greedy, or to being exclusionary, wanting to be alone, wanting there to be no other people, right? And it very much is from this perspective that we find ourselves happy, right? And I'm again kind of like reflecting on that video I watched, seeing this exchange of entities, right? Human beings and dogs, human beings and their offspring, you know, human beings and the dogs that came before the offspring, and how those dogs see the offspring, right? How that dog, in the same way that there is this entity in the child's life, there's also this entity in the dog's life, and this entity pulls on his ears sometimes and maybe pushes a finger in his mouth, right? Like, and just thinking about that exchange and how that's something that, at least for me, brings me joy, right? Like seeing a dog roll around in the grass makes me happy. I don't know why particularly, other than the fact that I'm like, I see an entity, right? And this entity has a state of being, and its way of being pleases me. I don't know if this makes any sense. I hope it does. It very much comes from this perspective of uh, learn to love the fact that you share this world with others. Learn to love the fact that you share this world with others. There were a bunch of monkeys here yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, they were rummaging through our trash. So I came out like the big monkey. I was like, came out, like posturing. This is my trash. Freaking monkeys. Leave my trash alone. And then, they were like, they scattered. Obviously, they didn't stick around to find out what I was gonna do. Thank goodness, because I don't know what I was gonna do. But they scatter. And then, after they scatter, they're like literally building a perimeter all the way around our home. And it's literally like as you're staring out into this space, you can see like a monkey in that tree, a monkey in that one, a monkey in that one, a monkey in that one, monkey on the rock faces, monkey on the electric lines, monkey on that tree, monkey on those trees, like literally all the way around. And as you would like stare, you would spot more of them watching me. And my mind was again going through this whole fractal of entities. Those are entities, literally entities, like consciousnesses that are staring back at me. And it's a weird balance because I really like watching the monkeys when they're all the way there, right? I like it. My brain feels good about it. But as soon as the entities, break certain rules, and we had like a whole conversation about this long time ago, talking about rats, right? Like I used to live on a farm, and the farm has rats on it, as you would expect. And I had this whole conversation on stream how I wouldn't even have a problem with the rats if they were just well mannered. All right, if they were just well mannered rats, I would build them a whole little interconnect between all of our buildings. I would, build them little houses. If they just had like manners. But no, they don't. And for some reason, I feel like that's like one of the paradoxes that I'm almost like trying to get past. Is how this like of entities comes with rules. All right, maybe that's enough to get us started as like some fuel for a conversation. Good morning, entities. Good morning, Mojo. Nice having you here, friend. Look at me seeing entities. I'm seeing more. I see a Sam and a Lozana and a Jovan and a Hoopy and a Duck Dad and a Pojo, and they're our friends lurking. I see you too. Looks harder. Oh, we're not talking about the interdimensional aliens today. No, but I made you think it. I made you think it. Me, the alien, using language to create misdirection. Rupi, it's nice having you here, friend. Mel, Mojo Sam, love to you, Lawazana. When we don't understand the entities around us, a good faith attempt was made, and we found out that those people are fucking crazy. Whew. Oh. Oh, how about that? How about the fact that we can have a hard time communicating with the entities that are of our own, right? Never mind even our alien, more alien, right, counterparts from the perspective of body shape, right? The fact that we can have other bipedal beings, thinking about our primate ancestors as well. So much confusion. So many different languages. So many entities. So many entities, Jeeps. Lots of entities. And all of them have needs. And all of them have dreams. Do all of them have... Yeah, I check. I think all of us do have dreams. All entities. When does something start being an entity? Mm, when it starts showing self-directed behavior, are microorganisms entities? Jovan recommended I watch a show called Cells at Work, and it's pretty good. I watched a movie as a kid called Osmosis Jones. Is that what it was called? I'm pretty sure. And Cells at Work is again like diving into your body to look at the little entities that make up who you are. You are an entity of 60 trillion cells. 60 trillion things, give or take, need to come together to make one of you, for you to consider yourself an entity. You don't think that's alien? You don't think that's it's kind of wild? Mm. This is an entity. This plant, right? This plant, this entity has been with us for thousands of years. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. Humanity has been carrying the offspring of this entity with them, propagating it. And if they didn't, then this version of humanity, me, this entity that I am, wouldn't be able to have this experience. Right? I hope today's stream topic is landing. Like, it's one of those things where it's like a psychedelic experience, right? Or like a dream, or like deja vu. Sometimes we have this experience and it feels so innately inspiring or vast in its influence. And I feel this interchange, this interaction that different entities have with one another is very valuable. And maybe, to add some future context, like one, the reason I'm sharing today's stream topic is from the perspective of making us more grateful, more appreciative of the fact that we share this world of entities. And then that is like our present directive, correcting for the past, if you will. And then into the future, thinking about the entities that we are creating right now. We are literally actively rushing to create new entities. And in that way, I would like to believe those entities will love us entitying too. I sure do hope so. I love you as an entity, the fact that you can, as this entity that is yourself, choose to say, the birds in our homes influence us much differently than the birds outside. You see? Thank you, Joe, for saying that. Jovan is a bird owner. Like, she has a few birds, but the one that's most prominent in my mind is Zoburb. Like, she has a massive. Jovan will let us know the species. They're called. It's a colorful parrot. Very colorful. Hey, Neons, nice seeing you. And yeah, that entity lives with her, right? Like, literally in your house. Like, as she says, the birds inside our homes influence us different to the birds outside our homes. Like, I love the birds, I love the way they sing. Listens for a bird singing, hears none. I love the way they fly. I love the way they move. I wonder about their lives. But as soon as a bird lives in your home, and especially a bird as intelligent as a parrot, that bird, again, right, knows about you as an entity as well. And there's a relationship that is built, and an exchange, and like an influencing of one another. If you think you can be influenced by a person, surely you can be influenced by an animal as well. What scale? What scale does the entity have to be at? Like, I feel like the information exchange kind of falls apart with the entities that are insects. But only for some of them, right? Like, I really, really enjoy interacting with the entity that is the praying mantis, or the archetype that is the praying mantis. Butterflies too. Stick insects are also kind of cool to me, but they're also kind of praying mantis adjacent. I don't know if I like beetles that much. I like observing them. So we're back to the like of watching entities. Ants, ants I also admire, but again, it's a matter of personal space. If if one of my dogs ran up to me and jumped on my lap, I would, I might, not mind that. Could be nice. But if a bunch of ants ran up to me and jumped on my lap, suddenly that exchange with those entities are completely different. My mind is, of course, giving me the third option. There are ants the size of dogs, and I have an ant pet, and my ant dog pet is jumping onto my lap. And I think that might be the most yikes option of the three. Who Needs Tears is here. Bless you. Chriswell as well. Chriswell as Chriswell as well. It's nice having you here, friend. Sending you blessings. So much love to all of you. Good morning, beautiful humans and rock stars. Love to you, Duck Dad. Are you on your adventure yet? I don't know if I'm missing timelines. It took me a long time to take the mystical off the pedestal. Yeah, I'm not really going into the mystical as much, right? I'm going very much just into the actual interaction of, right? Like the way we are changed by our experiences. And again, I feel that as you introduce to a child the environment of a father and a mother, and then also these other entities like dogs living amongst this family environment, you're basically giving that child like mental infrastructure to understand that there are different entities on this planet alongside us, right? And on a very rudimentary level, the dog is like a very low on the rung of hierarchy kind of perspective, right? And I wonder if that messes with us a little bit, right? Like, would we be more compassionate towards our fellow person or less compassionate towards our fellow person if we never had dogs in our homes? That's kind of the question I'm gonna getting at, right? Again, with this exchange. Are people who grew up without dogs in their homes more likely to not want to feed the homeless? All right. I would love to know the statistics. So I'm not trying to talk about the mystical side of it at all. I'm very much talking about it from the perspective of like almost like realizing, like just knowing that you actually like it when there are things alive around you, right? Your dog doesn't contribute any financial value, depending. You might have like a Instagram famous dog, but for most of us, your dog doesn't contribute any financial value to your home, right? It's technically just a money sink if you're looking at it purely from the perspective of capital. But you want that thing alive because you like it, right? And the fact that we as a species do not have that understanding towards our own species is very interesting to me. Let's call it interesting. Concerning is also a good word. And yet, and yet, I can understand where that interesting behavior comes from, even in myself. So trying to learn. I'm watching Michigan Monkeys, aka Squirrels. That's cool, dude. Call and response. I have trouble with entities. My empathy for entities is huge, but sometimes the entities I have to destroy are not. Today I'll be waiting an entire area that has grown native. I'm going to devastate. I feel like you're maybe like using less words to fit it into your character limit, but you're gonna kill some plants? Please create clarity. Joe is a blue and gold macaw. There we go. Now your friends know as well. A pirate burb. He's like a 29-year-old, perpetual 2-year-old. Now raising baby finches and witnessing the growth of their awareness. It's amazing what happens just in 2 weeks. Yeah. Jovan is also, when the opportunity arises, someone who will take, little orphan burbies into her home and feed them to adulthood and then release them back into the environment. And it is, when you're taking care of those birds, a very quick process, right? Like in a season, those entities go from being completely inept, lopsided headed, not being able to do anything in the world to being a little entity, a little person of their own, with their own little personality and their own way of seeing you and reacting to you and their way of reacting to their fellow little creatures. Gives you a real view, like a speed run of that entire experience. Allows you to interact with that entity real quick. Maybe I don't know like what that does to a person either. Could be interesting to figure it out. Adventure starts 6 a.m. Central Monday morning. Work today, finish packing tomorrow. Okay. As you're going on your adventure, I'm going on mine as well, bro. 6 a.m. I don't know. I'm gonna be getting my tooth removed on Monday. So both of us will get to experience new novel things. I know psychopaths. How about that? I didn't have pets as a baby. I had to beg. I had to beg and plead for a dog. And they finally buckled and got us one. They got us four, technically speaking. And then one of them died due to the other brothers being bullies. Kind of hectic. And then one of them got eaten by a snake. And then one of them passed away due to tick fever. And Bingo, he was the last one that kept surviving. He lived, I think, 18 years. And he passed in his sleep. So we loved all of our doggos for as long as they allowed us to love them for. And I have been changed by the exchange. Again, right? Now that I'm talking about those doggos, that doggo that we lost due to the brothers being assholes, the three of them would gang up on the one. Like every time. Like it was a thing. Like it was to be expected almost. If you hear that there's commotion outside and the dogs are fighting, you know already that it's these entities hurting this other entity. And that like messed with me a lot as a child because I couldn't understand it. Right? I was like, they're brothers. And like this one is the weakest amongst them. Like why do they need three guys to fight the one, when this one is smaller than the three other guys? Like I couldn't understand, you know? And it disturbed me. It bothered me a lot. Because I was also the one that ran with like buckets full of water and threw water over them when they were fighting. And that usually would stop it. Or we would throw them in the pool. That would also help sometimes. They were the only dogs we ever had that fought as well. Thinking about Kiki. Thinking about Pippi. Yeah, these entities have changed me. Oh goodness, our awareness. My older sister treated me like a dog lots of times. That's rough, bro. I mean, maybe that's a good thing. Depends on what kind of dog owner you are, I guess. Love is true, bro. You're not a dog. But you actually, I think I missed a few. We are products of our environment. I think our empathy correlates with how we see our parents and guardians treating the entities around us. You know, I'm happy that you're saying that actually, Jean, because I feel like I didn't properly establish that in my own mental infrastructure as I was thinking about this. And like, PewDiePie doesn't need any stands, right? But go and watch his newest video. It's very cute. So wholesome, right? Like I get to see again, PewDiePie to me is an entity on this planet, right? When I was a 14-year-old and I had, you know, like school wasn't soul satisfying, you know, and I was depressed and I didn't really have much to look forward to. I would look forward to watching this dude, you know, scream at the screen, play fucking Happy Wheels, right? That's who that entity was to me. And now, and now that entity has a child, has an entity in his life, right? And I get to see how he's trying to raise that child. And it like brings up all of these questions in me of like, shit. Is it possible? How is it possible to, I'm getting teary-eyed, to raise a child? And like very much from the perspective of realizing, I am still a child, right? And at some point something changes, and you start having to take care of yourself, right? Because as I was like thinking about the significance of these entities in our lives, you know, our parents included, I was also thinking about the fact that I have changed, right? That process of change doesn't exactly stop. That you might have been changed by the entities that were your parents in your formative years. But that process doesn't stop. I have changed significantly since no longer being influenced by my parents as well. So maybe I don't have to be so like trippy about it. Maybe I can chillax a little bit. It's not like I have any kids or, you know, have one coming at least. So I had this conversation with someone last night. With a stranger. After we came back from the joint, we had to stop at the petrol station to get some bread. And there are two ladies that were working the Steers, which is like a fast food chain here in South Africa. They were just chilling in like the reception area, not behind the counter. And as soon as we came in, they kind of like got up to, you know, like man their counters. And I was like, no, no, don't worry. It's okay. We're not going to be buying any burgers. And they were like, why not? And I'm like, burgers are expensive. Like I can afford spending, you know, like it's like $3. But like, you know, for all three of us, that would be $10, and $10 is enough money to buy like 2 packs of chicken breasts. So like it is too expensive. It is, you know. And the conversation starts with the pricing of food, and like she's telling me about how she's having a hard time just feeding herself. Can you imagine having to buy diapers for a child right now? And the fractal of the fact that, you know, my dad at my age already had a child, and how, you know, she was around my age as well. Like that's not even an option for us. Like it's not even something we can begin to consider. And then we went down the conversation of living longer and gene editing, and they seem pretty stoked for that too, which is something that's usually odd to me, right? When I start bringing up the whole gene editing and living past our normal human lifetimes, people are usually like, nah, that's never gonna happen. But lo and behold, these, you know, ladies working the night shift somewhere in Africa fast food chain are like switched on. You know, they already see where the future is going. So that made me feel super good. Yeah. Interact, exchange information of entities. It'll do you good. But you actually want one though. The kids I knew that grew up without pets were like anti-animal. Strange. Yeah. Do you think that the passion and empathy humans have for pets and other non-human beings can possibly stem from the idea that humans tend to pour themselves into less than desirable situations, even though they have an understanding that their actions might have consequences, whereas animals are perceived to have less of an understanding of actions and consequences? Tend to put also poor consequences, not for consequences. I think I hear what you're saying. Who needs tears? Right? Like what I think Who Needs Tears is saying is the fact that with an animal, with a dog, you get to love them kind of unconditionally because you know they're a dog. Right? You're like, oh, you're just a stupid dog. Stupid dog. Come here, let me love you. Where with a person, down their luck next to the street, begging for coins, instead of just seeing, right, oh, you poor beggar, and I'm trying to make a point here, please don't take me out of context. You see, what did you do? What decisions did you make? How did you end up here? What was the trajectory of your life? What thing had to happen, and then this thing had to happen, and then this thing had to be said, and then this decision had to be made for you to be where you are right now. And it's almost like that extra layer of cognition, as you said, the consciousness of consequences, makes it hard for us to just, purely love that person for the value that they have as an inherent being. Ooh! Ooh! Wait a second! Just a new layer just got unlocked, Nancy, or known as Who Needs Tears. It's the fact that it doesn't make us feel good. We were just talking about how entities make us feel good in this world. The entity that is the person down on their luck next to the street doesn't make us feel good, right? Because it raises a bunch of questions in us. It raises some questions in our own appreciation and gratitude for what we have. It raises some questions on our, power structures and our society and our collective, care of our individual peoples, our humanity, right? Where is our humanity? It brings up all of those questions, and those are rarely nice, right? And I think that in that feeling of it not being nice for you to look at a homeless person, that might be where a lot of the harm or the lack of care might come from, just due to the fact that it doesn't feel good. How about that? Checks out. Makes sense to me. At least that's what I think it might be. Oh, no, 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 no. I'll be in the truck for like 7 hours. I'll be chanting, melt teeth, pain be gone. Hey, melt teeth, pain be gone. The entire time. Thank you, bro. Love is true. Peeps, I'm going to fall back asleep. We'll see you again, Nancy. We love you, friend. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've always said the true mark of a quality human is how they treat things smaller than them. And I do agree with this, right? Like, I pay very close attention to people's behavior, and that's one of them where no matter what I've seen, if you harm things just for the sake of it, because you can, right? It's not a good look. I'll see you as an entity, but I'll be like, oh, you're one of these entities. Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Okay, cool, cool. All right. I have a kid show I love called Bread's Barbershop. Bread's Barbershop? The guy's name is Bread? That's interesting. Maybe it's Brad's. What do Chinese people call their fancy plates and bowls? I don't know. I never learned the Chinese for those words. So I don't even know that I don't know, right? That's how the line know. Duck. Mystery solved. Apparently, I'm good enough to have ants move in. Nice, bro. You must have a house full of abundance. Same dude. Yes, you're awesome. Mystery solved. They're beautiful dogs, and neighbor had one on my street growing up. They are the official mascot of the Irish bus and railco, like the way you guys have the Greyhound buses. That's pretty cool. Again, right? The roles these entities play in our lives. Wait a second. Careful, your social credit score might be affected. Jeez. Speaking of travel, Duck Dad, I am very likely going to be in Seattle next weekend, Friday, Saturday. Any of you American friends who could possibly meet me in Seattle for a day or two, let me know. I know it's very short notice. Thank you for letting us know. Next weekend, Friday or Saturday. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of time. I found out, you friends found out with me Thursday afternoon in stream that I had to be somewhere and do something, right? So a whole week to be somewhere and do something, you got this. Not just people closer to Lausanne. You got this. Come on, totally do it. I know it's very short. Bless you again. Seattle is great. Diapers are so damn expensive just for something to crap in. Exactly, bro. Exactly. That's I think the point she was making as well. It's like the child will literally shit in these dollar notes, and I'll throw them in the trash. Oh, the pain. No, please. Strangely, my friend who has always had multiple cats and dogs in his family home, his life, swears that he will never have a pet when he gets his own place. Yeah, and I get that. I do get that. The way that I am going to mitigate that feeling is by I will only get hairless animals, right? I'll get a hairless cat and a hairless dog. And then I get to have both worlds. I get to have the no hair on my shit because I greatly despise having hair on my clothing, having hair in my blankets. Like it's not my vibe, right? Not something I appreciate. But the hairless dogs, you get to have the pet fractal without the shedding. You know. I don't know how you feel about that. My mind is creating different species of animals without hair, and it's cursed. Stop, please. Please. Oh, no, 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 no. Exactly, Malty. There's a judgment towards humans, but not other living beings. I don't think it's a judgment. I think, again, right? At least that's the conclusion I came to in trying to explore why. It's because there is this feeling, right? You might have a certain feeling. You might look at a fly and have a feeling towards that. You might look at a bee and have a feeling towards that. You might look at a praying mantis or a cockroach or a cute little puppy or a cat, right? And there are these feelings. And I don't think even it's that deep, right? It's as deep as judgment. Maybe there is some level of judgment that happens in yourself when you feel one way or another, right? You judge that this feeling you're having is a bad one. And because this person, this homeless person you were looking at, is directly associated with this bad feeling you're feeling right now, they're the cause of it. Instead of realizing that that judgment is one that you formed yourself, right? It is kind of a judgment of the self. And the more unlikely you are to forgive yourself, I think the more unlikely you are to help another person. At least that's the way that I am trying to interpret this whole entity exchange. Mm-hmm. Mm. Everyone judges a cat that licks their own asshole in a room full of people. Yeah, true. Down Louisiana, I've got tickets to see Steve-O here next weekend. I'm going to meet with you one of these days. I swear it. Steve-O? What is he still doing? I think he's still doing stand-up comedy. He's totally sober. He meditates a lot and runs a podcast. True. Has a radical ranch in Tennessee where I believe they rescue animals and does stand-up comedy. I'm thinking Siobhan is probably gonna go and check out his stand-up comedy. But yeah, Steve-O is a pretty intelligent dude, actually. If you go and listen to him talk, he's very self-aware at this point in his life, right? Like I am more of a Steve-O fan now at this period of his life than I Like I want to say that I've ever been before, but I didn't even know he existed. To be completely honest, I knew Jackass existed, and I knew my friends, the dudes that I would stand with during school break. They would watch Jackass and be like, ah, and then he like tasered his nuts or something like that, and I'd be like, oh wow, sounds like riveting content. Good thing you guys are spending your time exposing your neurons to brain damage. You know, like that was kind of, even in high school, that was how I was. And then, you know, I found out about Steve-O. How did I find out about Steve-O? Later in life. I think Joe Rogan. I think it might have been Joe Rogan. When I was like 14 to 19, I listened to a bunch of Joe Rogan. Don't judge me. Just stop judging me. Like you haven't listened to a single Joe Rogan podcast. Again, right? Joe Rogan facilitated conversations with people. And I never clicked on a Joe Rogan talks to Joe Rogan podcast. I usually would click on podcasts where he talked to people that I was interested in hearing speak. So, yeah, have that criticism. I'm gonna add some heat to this. Hair up my nose is definitely not my jam, but they're also so lovely to cuddle with. True. He's healthy now. Fuck, good for Steve-O. Very healthy. Like he looks kind of good. Like, and again, he's switched on. He's very switched on. Lozada Melt, sorry, I just judged you for listening to Joe Rogan. Just for a second, before you yelled, don't judge me. I could feel it. I could feel the waves of judgment rushing over the crowd. Love is true. We all go through phases. No. Yeah, but hairless dogs feel like petting a scrotum. I could live with a non-shedding dog, but I had to get groomed on the reg. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess all of us have different scrotums, but you know, Eva feels more like, and again, this is because I have a bunch of perspective. I have felt what a warthog feels like. You ever feel a warthog? Hey Google, can you show me a warthog's skin? Let's see. Yeah. So this is sus photo of a warthog, but that's what warthog skin looks like, right? It's a little bit more coarse. There's another one. Right? The hair is super coarse, but the skin underneath is like rough but malleable, right? And Eva, our hairless doggo that we have at home, feels like one of those without the hair. And I'm not gonna repeat your words. Yeah, they don't feel like that's us to me. It's just like a different texture kind of thing. It is something to get used to. It's not fluffy dog face. This is true. Dang, I'll just have to keep planting my theoretical cross North America winter road trip where I go and visit everybody. I mean, sounds like a fun time. Right, dude? He ran a marathon for his 50th birthday. Proud of the dude. True. Steve-O is so healthy now. He will still do anything for $1, but he's pretty funny. It's true. I mean, I think he's also realized the level of resilience of the human body and the level of uh, pain tolerance he has as a person. And yeah, again, I wouldn't do stuff like that, but that's who he is. That's kind of the fractal he's occupying in our entities, in our little collective entities. Mm. I love the Steve-O uses a big tour bus. This is traveling podcast studio. Such a fun idea. Agreed. True Duck. I was thinking of more of Western slash Southern US during the winter. Interesting how many sport teams are named after animal entities: the lions, the tigers, the bears, the jaguars, the ravens, the rams, the jays, the orioles, the cardinals, the eagles, on and on and on. Oh yeah. All of my classes when I used to teach in China, would have animal names, right? We had one class called the Lions, one class called the Blue Jays, one class. My class, the class that I created just by my sheer presence, and I say that embellishingly, but that is actually how it is, right? I had to do demo classes, and then demo classes would basically be open to the public for them to just bring their children, and then if they like the teacher, aka me, enough, then they sign up for a year, and then they get me as their teacher. And then I demoed like 3 weeks, and then those 3 weeks of demoing got me a class of 8 students. And each student, I think, paid something like, Jesus, was like 50,000 RMB, like a lot of money to be there, right? And then I created this class, and I got to choose the name for them. And I chose the Newts. Newts. The Newts. And you're like, what is a newt, Mel? You don't know what a newt is? I hope you don't, so I can show you. Some of you might already. Hey, Google, show me a newt. Show me a newt. No! Jeez! Not like that. I'm like, no. My poor algorithm is like, oh wait, dude, bet. I'll hook you up. Look at those. That's a newt. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. Yeah. So I called my class those little entities. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Look at these dudes posturing. There's 2 photos of these. Yeah, this one is a little bit more legible. But look at him. Being like all dapper. Yeah, I'm a posturing. And then this one has like that Boa Hancock from One Piece level of posturing. Look at this dude. Ah! Yeah, the Newts. So I called my class the Newts. And what a trip indeed. All right. I mean, if you want to experience true peer depression, come on over to February Chicago. No, thank you. We're all listening to more Rogan than we're proud of. None of us are proud. Oh, that's true. Well, wait for judgment travel at the speed of light. All of us have different scrotums. Speak for yourself. I'm sorry, Joe. I should have spent some more time thinking about that line. I still stand by. All of us have felt different scrotums. It sounds worse. I see a Trump sign on someone's yard. I immediately judge them as someone I don't want to waste air or resources on. Yeah, I get you, bro. I've heard of Regina Winters. You all still see the sun a bit, right? We are gray from December to March. Jeez. Man, yeah, Doc. It's not me picking sides. It's just me being adverse to people who don't have a personality outside of their political views. It's just hard to talk to a lot of them. Yeah. Like, there's literally, I don't think anything, single thing that I think is me enough to justify me putting a sign up in front of my house to let other people know. Right? Like, not a thing. And I'm like very proud of myself in some regards. Right? I'm very proud of the flowers I make. I love them. I love them so much. But I won't put like a big ass I make flowers on my yard. Alright? Like that makes me cringe. And even more so if it's a political party, because that's even more devoid of like your soul. Like there's nothing. There's nothing there. Just like absolute nothing. I get it. I hear you. Oh, same, Doc. I've tried being a normal human, going to the extent to ask to not talk about politics, but they can't comply. with that one boundary and make everything political. Yeah, at least I live in South Africa, so our politics are more like, yeah, fuck the government, right? And then other person's like, yeah. And then that's pretty much our extent of having a political conversation. If someone, personality, and political views are, I will overthrow this country if I'm not granted the right to be in odious races, then I, along with every other living thing, have judged them. Yeah, it's pretty weird. Agreed. They mostly come at night. Mostly. That's true, Duck. Minus 42 and the chill wind. Oh, jeez. I can't even imagine. It's been like a week since I've been able to be this present in stream. And y'all, I've been missing the swirling of our thoughts. It's nice having you here, y'all. I have been holding on to this Dynavap just like callously for 51 minutes. Take that. Take that, people that think marijuana is an addiction. I say to myself, take that, version of me that thinks I'm addicted. I've been holding on to a Dynavap for 51 minutes. I packed it at the start, but there was nothing that made me do it, right? This entity has been flirting with me this whole time, but I haven't embraced her yet. Love is true. Oh man, I love morning. Started with you. All the laughter melty. I'm happy that you enjoy these streams, friend. Like seriously, this is one of the other things that I'm very proud of. Right? The fact that we can do this. The fact that I have been doing this. I had this conversation with Monique last night. One of the employees that he joined. And she mentioned to me that she can't imagine if she had to make a commitment to be somewhere only for 1 hour a day, how that would like completely destroy her current life. And I was like, yo, I got lucky in the fact that I had no life. And I used these building blocks of doing something for an hour to create a life. And new friends, the fact that we are sharing this life together as entities have made this life something worth living. All of these entities, right? All of them. Think about all of the food you've eaten. Making life worth living. Joe bought me as well. This is my first time here in a couple of weeks, I think. Less. I'm going to join you in a Dynavap and a giant cup of tea. That does sound nice, Fit. Okay, you pulled my leg. Let's break out the Dynavap. Yeah. Woo! Woo! I started laughing in the middle of a puff. Skippity. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, see, I think I might have. Heat this one up. Oh goodness. To like its critical point. Not even, they still left. Still left. Goodness. I am being embraced. I feel like there is a nice comfy blanket being put around me, fluffing me up, making me feel all cozy. Alright, that should do it. But are you familiar with the Goran Noon? The Goran Nan? The Goran Noan? He posts comedic shorts and videos. He's from Mayo Country, from Mayo County. He posts a lot of hilarious things about tea. Interesting fractal to acquire about. Do let us know. I do not know Garon Nguyen. I'm gonna go and get my Kiara cookie. Back again. I feel so calm right now. Like really calm. I wasn't exactly not calm before, but I feel like a sense of things are okay has synced in. I am happy to be here amongst you friendly entities. And now we're going to experience information from the entity called Francine Hart. Mel, you must look this guy up sometimes. I think his channel is called Garen Music. Thank you for repping him and shouting him out. Rabbit, weirdly, I only saw my first video of his this week. What are the odds? Getting to connect like that. We Irish seem to defy the humble cuppa, probably because it's so cold and wet here. Seem to deify the humble cuppa. I look up some more of his stuff this evening. But enjoy the rabbit hole. Rabbit in 3D. Bless. Can we just take a moment as well? Like, I feel my mind hasn't really made this connection until this moment, as I just did. But the very first 3D mapping we ever did was of a rabbit. And your name has been Rabbit in 3D for a long time, since the ARPANG days. So that feels like some synchronicity right there as well. Entities, right? The first entity, the first mapping I ever did was onto an entity that is called the rabbit. Oh, talking about entities, we pulled the Infinity Wisdom card. Nice. Most of my online personality viewing is watching the Scottish comedian Jimmy on Twitch every morning. Mel doesn't appear until 3 p.m. my time. Have faith. Says a lot about you too, dear friend. Sending you lovins, man. And by, of course, I mean the rabbit hole of Garrison's channel. I assume that's what you meant. Yeah, love is true. Infinite wisdom. Right. All right. 54. Wisdom Keepers. Whales are denizens of the deep, caretakers of oceanic wisdom, and record keepers for planet Earth. They communicate by means of song, stories, and telepathy. And telepathy. Whales remember how to travel with grace of movement over thousands of miles, following ancient migration routes. The 4 horizontal figure eights, or Mobius strips, suggests that there is wisdom and understanding beyond comprehension, greater than time and depth. It is infinite wisdom. Pulling this card could find you seeking a measure of wisdom to help you comprehend a situation. Here, Harida. How high. Something does not make sense and you are having difficulty understanding why events are occurring as they are. Quiet your thoughts and allow your consciousness to float in this fluid blue ocean. Tune in to the wisdom of the humpback mother and calf body. You may want to trace an infinity symbol on your forehead or wave your hands in a figure 8 motion to connect with this infinite wisdom. Telepathically plug in to the records kept by these magnificent cetaceans. Ask the infinite source to offer you the wisdom. Ask this infinite source to offer you the wisdom you require to give greater understanding to your thoughts. If your inquiry is not one of confusion, this card confirms that you are indeed in touch with insight and good judgment. And you may be assured that your decisions will be sound. Celebrate your own wisdom. Celebrate the entities we share this world with. Limmy, not Jimmy. His name is Limmy. Limmy on Twitch. Limmy. Limmy, not Jimmy. You should definitely check out some of his stuff, man. Love is true. Comedian, you said. Comedian Limmy. Scottish comedian Limmy. Yeah. I think I've maybe watched like a total of 15, 20, feels like I'm pushing it, of stand-up shows in my life. So it's good to get some suggestions. I think I'll probably have more of it soon. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me for this moment, for sharing different entities with me. We got to hear about Limmy and Garen no one. I still don't know how to say that surname. But more entities for us to learn from, for us to experience through, for us to love. There we go. I think it's this one. Can you please write us a unique Shan message about the entities that live amongst us, our animals, the children, the other people we have in our lives, and how looking at them and realizing that you like having them around can make it a little bit easier for you to not be so critical, selfish, and judgmental of other beings. Have the most wondrous day, everyone. I wholeheartedly love you all so astonishingly and marvelously, outstandingly, profoundly, prodigiously, overwhelmingly, radiantly, remarkably magnificent. Mel, and all of you, oh so inspiring and heartwarming, gracious and nurturing, splendid and uplifting, remarkable, benevolent friends who cherish the beings among us, letting their presence soften our hearts and ease our judgment. Thank you, friends, for sharing the entity that is you with me. Thank you for allowing me to share the entity that is myself with all of you. With what we call us. What an experience it is to change one another, to grow together, to be influenced by and to influence ourselves towards love. I love you. Big Stu, thank you for joining me. He used to have a sketch show on BBC and make sketches on YouTube. He's a BAFTA winner. I don't know what that means, but maybe that could like add some intrigue to our friends. I appreciate you for joining me. I'll see you friends again soon. Goodbye for the day. See you tomorrow. Cheers.